Welcome to Biz Filing's Expert Insights.
Hi, I'm Greg Corombos. Our guest this week on Expert Insights is Kim Perell. Kim is CEO of Amobee and author of The Execution Factor, the one skill that drives success. Today we'll be discussing what successful execution looks like and what the critical components are. And Kim, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
Well, you've got a great story here, and we'll get into the aspects of execution that you believe are so critical to business success in just a moment. But to set the stage for that, I want our listeners to understand where you've been on this journey. I know things were looking pretty financially bleak for you back when you were in your 20s. You were down to your last, I think, a couple $100. So talk about your decision at that point to pursue a startup that ultimately grew to a massively successful company that you then sold to the company that you're now in charge of. So how did all that happen?
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. As an entrepreneur for the last 20 years, I definitely know about failure, and I've seen my fair share. So at 23, I was broke, unemployed, and I was a statistic. And, looking back at that experience and not knowing what was next or, what was I going to do, I decided to take matters into my own hands and start my own company. And that was, very early on in the infancy of the internet. And everyone I knew thought I was crazy and thought, the internet, digital marketing was a fad. But I believed in my vision and I believed the opportunity. And, I made a bet on myself. And I think looking back, that's the best bet you can ever make is the one on yourself, because you can only control yourself and what you do and not the surroundings.
So you were in a bad place financially and business-wise before you were able to start this successful business. So given that less than auspicious start, how did you determine that a lot of success ultimately comes down to execution?
Yeah, so looking back over the last 20 years, and I've been an entrepreneur, an executive, I'm an investor in over 70 different startups, I'm an advisor, and I'm a couple of different boards. Looking back at that red thread between those companies that are successful and those are failure, I've seen that execution is that difference, and execution is what separates the good from the great. And it's easy to dream, it is hard to do. So looking back, at so many great ideas and so many great visionaries, and it's important to have that vision, but you also have to take the necessary action in order to make that vision a reality.
And you've mentioned two of the five critical components, vision, passion, action, resilience, and relationships. Let's briefly go through them one at a time. What does a quality vision look like?
So vision is having that North Star and a crystal clear picture of what you want to achieve, whether it be buying a house, starting a business, selling a business, raising money. It's really about being very specific and, really having that every day, that North Star and that compass. And I put a Post-it on my bathroom mirror, and I look at what I'm trying to achieve every single day in the morning and the night. I did this when I sold my last company. It's a very powerful tool. And when you look historically, there's statistics that say that those who write down their visions are 9 times as likely to be more successful over their lifetime as those who aren't. So why wouldn't you do it? And I think anyone looking to achieve success, this is a great place to start.
That is followed by passion. How is that different, and what does it look like?
Passion, how I see passion is not just being excited and energized. It's really about passion being the Latin root word for pain. So what are you actually willing to suffer for, and really knowing that going in, because it's going to get hard. It's not easy. There's going to be late nights and early mornings. And are you really willing to suffer for what your vision is and to achieve it? And I think it's, really understanding if you are, if you aren't, and making, deciding if you're going to take action against it.
And that obviously can flow into action itself, but you also talk about action in just setting one or two, maybe even just small little tasks in front of you to keep the drive going.
Yeah, I think when you look at action, people always look at how do I create, this incredible vision. It's so big, but that gives you analysis paralysis, and you just don't know where to start. So it's really about taking one small action every day to get closer to your vision. And that's what I found to be the most successful, because if you try to tackle the entire, your entire vision, it's just going to get overwhelming and almost, paralyzing. It's been that way for me.
You mentioned, Kim, that you're going to suffer at some point. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be disappointments. And that's where resilience kicks in. How do you know if you have it before you've actually encountered one of these trials? And what does it look like, again, to put it into practice when you see a massive setback, the loan doesn't come through, your partner doesn't turn out to be an honest person, the customers aren't responding, whatever it is, how do you dig deep and bring that up?
Yeah, in my 20 years, I've never seen an overnight success. And, when I work with entrepreneurs, I tell them they should assume it's going to take a minimum of 5 years before they see that ultimate success and that sign. And so if you really look at that long-term strategy, you have to be willing. It's going to be hard. And are you prepared to endure the wrong turns, the detours, the roadblocks along the way? Because success is not a linear line straight to the top. There is challenges. And how do you build that resilience muscle? Because it's really something that you're going to have to prepare yourself to overcome. As you said, and the loan doesn't come through, the funding doesn't come through, you lose a big customer. These happen every day in business. And I think knowing that this happens it's not just an individual. This happens all the time to businesses all over the world. And knowing that you're not alone, and you have to, if you get knocked down, you have to be willing to get back up. I mean, it's easy to throw in the towel. It's hard to keep going.
We'll get to relationships in just a moment, Kim, but some people might be looking at this and going, well, she's explaining very well that this is not easy to follow these 5 steps, but it sounds like if I do these 5 things, I'm going to be a smashing success. What would you say to folks who come to that conclusion?
Yeah, you will. I think, throughout my experience, I believe these 5 traits separate success from failure. I've learned and I've looked at, incredible amount of companies. I currently run a company, and based on my experience, if you can master these 5 traits, you will be successful. So this is, and I think it goes back to the relationships being the 5th trait, and surrounding yourself with people that are supporting and encouraging you to achieve your dreams. And I think that's really important. I personally do something called the life audit, which is if I'm not, you look at the 5 people you surround yourself with, and then you really do a very simple exercise, which is if they're encouraging you and supporting you and challenging you, put a plus. And if they're just telling you it's not going to work, they're discouraging from your dreams, you put a minus. And then you just start auditing them out, because whoever you're surrounding yourself and whoever you are spending the most time with, that's where you're going. So surround yourself with people that are thinking big and trying to achieve their dreams, because whatever they're going, you're going to be going to.
And those are the relationships you obviously want to cultivate. So again, it's vision, passion, action, resilience, and relationships. And so briefly walk us through how this worked for you when you went from dead broke to successful CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. How did each of these components play into your success?
Yeah, they're all, I think when you look at execution, each one of them is very important to mastering execution. So every day I wake up and think, how can I master each one of these even better than the day before? And if I can go from my kitchen table 20 years ago to today running a global marketing company with 1,000 people and writing a bestseller, anyone can. And that's what I'm trying to, really educate and provide that blueprint in my book, The Execution Factor, so I can help teach people, to build the vision they have for their lives, to surround themselves with those great people. And when they get knocked down, to get back up. So really trying to help just give that framework and that blueprint to help others achieve the same success.
Kim, it's a fantastic book. It's a fantastic lesson on so many of the qualities that are needed, not just in successful business operation, but getting the most out of life in many ways as well. So thank you very much for your time today. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much, Greg. Appreciate you having me. Kim Perell is CEO of Amobee and author of The Execution Factor, the one skill that drives success. I'm Greg Corombos, and for more information on this topic, please call Biz Filings at 844-202-0707.
Biz Filings, a Wolters Kluwer company, has been incorporating businesses since 1996.